The weekend arrived with a gentle, golden light spilling over Singapore's skyline. The warmth of the sun felt soft, not searing, a rare gift in this bustling city. I had been looking forward to today ever since Ray texted back, a playful and slightly self-deprecating response about his lack of yoga skills, but willingness to try. That message had lingered in my mind like the notes of a favorite song, filling me with quiet anticipation. The yoga studio I chose was a small, serene space nestled on the second floor of an old shophouse. Its wide windows overlooked a tranquil garden, where bamboo swayed gently in the breeze. Inside, the air smelled faintly of lavender and eucalyptus, the walls adorned with abstract paintings and soft pastels. It was my haven, a place where my mind could let go of the week's noise. Ray arrived right on time, his slightly unsure expression softened by an easy smile. He was dressed in a loose gray shirt and black joggers, looking as though he'd borrowed the outfit from someone who actually did yoga. I couldn't help but smile at the effort he'd made.
"This place is nice,"
he said, his eyes scanning the room. There was a genuine curiosity in his tone, and something about the way he observed the space made me think he wasn't just making small talk. I led him to a corner of the room, handing him a mat and showing him how to set it up. As I knelt to adjust my own, I glanced at him. His brow furrowed slightly as he mirrored my movements. There was an endearing determination about him, a quiet earnestness that I found myself drawn to. The instructor entered and began the session with a soft chime of the Tibetan singing bowl, signaling us to close our eyes and center ourselves. I let my breath deepen, focusing on the sound, the sensation of the mat beneath me, and the rhythm of the world slowing down. I wondered briefly what Ray was thinking, whether he was finding the same calm, or if his mind was already questioning his decision to come. As we moved into the poses, I tried not to peek at him, though I couldn't resist a few stolen glances. His attempts were clumsy but earnest, his downward dog more of a downward collapse, his warrior pose shaky and off-kilter. But he never stopped trying, even when the instructor gently corrected his form. His face held a mix of concentration and humor, as if he'd already accepted that yoga wouldn't be his next great skill. By the time we reached the closing savasana, I could feel the shift in my own energy. My body was light, my mind clear, and as I lay on the mat, staring up at the ceiling's simple wooden beams, I felt gratitude for the practice, for the moment, and for Ray's willingness to step into my world. The session ended with another chime of the bowl, and as we rolled up our mats, Ray caught my eye.
"That was harder than I thought it'd be,"
he admitted, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. "You did great," I said, meaning it. Yoga's not about being perfect. It's about showing up and being present, and you nailed that part. He laughed softly, shaking his head.
"If you say so. My legs are going to remember this tomorrow."
We stepped outside into the garden, the air cool and fresh against our skin. The late morning sun dappled the path, and I felt an unspoken peace between us as we walked toward a nearby cafe. It was one of my favorite spots, a small, family-run place with mismatched furniture and the best avocado toast in the city. Ray didn't hesitate to follow my lead, his curiosity evident as he scanned the menu. Over brunch, our conversation flowed naturally. Ray told me more about his work, the meticulous world of sound engineering, the endless hours spent tweaking tiny details to make a piece of audio perfect. I shared how yoga helped me reset after emotionally heavy days at the studio, how cooking became a way to ground myself, and how I sometimes danced around my kitchen just because it felt good.
"You're good at this,"
he said suddenly, setting down his fork. His gaze met mine, steady and thoughtful.
"Helping people feel comfortable, even when they're completely out of their element."
His words caught me off guard, and for a moment I didn't know what to say. I felt my cheeks warm as I replied, "Maybe it's just who I am, or maybe it's all the practice I get from my clients." Ray smiled, but his expression held something deeper, as if he were trying to understand me in a way most people didn't bother to. It was the kind of moment I treasured, one that felt genuine and rare. As we left the cafe, walking side by side through the bustling streets. I felt lighter. The day had unfolded in a way that was both ordinary and extraordinary. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like I was building something new, something that mattered. When we reached the MRT station where we'd part ways, Ray hesitated, his hands tucked into his pockets.
Thanks for today, Joelle, for letting me into your world a little bit.
Thank you for stepping into it, I replied with a smile. He nodded, his expression soft.
I'll text you soon.
I'd like that. As I watched him disappear into the crowd, a sense of quiet joy settled over me. The day had been simple, yet it carried the kind of depth I'd always craved. Proof that sometimes the best connections start with showing up, trying, and being present in the moment.